Yo. Once again, it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kens TV and the House Like Kitchen Sinks. Now, before I get into today's video, if you will, y'all jump in the comment section. Let me know where you're chiming in from. I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. Well, I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. Let me know your city, your state, your hood, your set. Let it be known if you're the man or the woman that you say you be. Right now, I'm going to give y'all a small view of where I'm at. You know what I mean? I'm in the Sunshine State, Florida. It's Destin, Florida. I'm not sure if y'all can see the beach in the background. But it's my current situation right now. But yeah, you know, I've been getting a whole lot of emails, a whole lot of text messages. 859-551-5122. I do answer back. And people have been asking me about the P. Diddy outcome. You know, what do I think about the verdict? You know, I really had said I was not going to do any more P. Diddy videos. For whatever reason, people get mad when you form your own opinion about something. And I noticed that I lose subscribers when I give my opinion. But guess what? I've continued to give my opinion. Because if an individual is going to be mad at you based upon how you feel about something, then they was never really down for you, you know, in the first place. So, you know, with that being said, I will go ahead and give my take on the matters. I want to put this out there first. I want to address this. There's a podcast, and I watch him every day, man. Sean G. Podcast with Soul. If you haven't had an opportunity to check him out, go check him out. His name is Sean G, but the name of his YouTube channel is Podcast with Soul. And I believe you can find him on Spotify and along with Instagram under the same name, the Podcast with Soul. Good dude, it appears to be. I don't know him, but he appears to be a good dude. I believe he's out of Jersey. And he covered the P. Diddy trial almost every day. I think he missed maybe 3 or 4 days. And even when he did miss the 3 or 4 days, pretty sure that he was like in Florida or somewhere covering the trial, doing an interview in regards to the trial, if you will. He was my main source of information when it came to the P. Diddy trial, meaning that there was a whole lot of YouTubers, there was a whole lot of people that was just saying anything. Mainstream media, they were, according to Sean G., they were just reporting everything as though it was going all bad for Diddy. They weren't reporting the real, according to Sean G. So again, he was the source that I got my information from. This is no hate on Sean G whatsoever, man. I rocks with the brother, man. I think that he's an excellent, very, very intelligent dude. Yeah, I said it. He's very, very intelligent, and he really knows what he's speaking of. He was there. He took notes every day for hours. And he reported to us and stood out there in that hot sun, 90-degree weather, and he really did a great job covering this entire case. But on the flip side, and I'm not necessarily going to say on the flip side, but he said some things that I didn't necessarily agree with and I didn't necessarily like. He said that the judge was a very, very fair judge and there was no racism involved whatsoever in the case. Now, I'm not proclaiming racism. But when you really, really think about it, to be charged with the Mann Act is a racist charge. Why? Because for the most part, black people that have money, black men that have money, that's a way of getting them when they have nothing else on them. Okay, you can't get him for tax evasion, paid his taxes, can't get him for anything fraudulent, you know, within his business. Speaking of P. Diddy, and not just P. Diddy, but a lot of other successful black men. They don't have any proof he did this. They don't have any proof that he did that. Oh, but we know that he flies in women. See, Jack Johnson, if you're not familiar, go, you know, do your due diligence if you care enough to. Jack Johnson. Couldn't get him for anything else. But we can get him for flying a white woman across state lines. for the purposes of sex, prostitution, man act. And that's the only thing that they could get Diddy on. And according to Sean G, one of those counts, which it really doesn't matter anyway, because 9.9 times out of 10 they're going to run the charges together, concurrent. But according to Sean G, one of those charges has to be dismissed for the simple fact that it's outside of the 5-year statute of limitations. Now, had Diddy been convicted of the RICO, then that conviction would stand, according to Sean G. But the underlying offense, which is, we'll just say the Mann Act, if it's not accompanied by the RICO, it must be dismissed. But nevertheless, I don't think that's a big deal whatsoever. But again, my problem with what Sean G said, and this is not a problem with Sean G, just a problem with what he said, is that the judge was very fair. There's no way that this judge was very fair. This is according to your reporting to Sean G, and I'll speak this respectfully. I have a whole lot of respect, for this individual, man. He grinds, he gets out there, and he works hard, man. And for y'all that are not familiar with him, go check him out. He has a very, very interesting story. I guarantee you, man. You listen to his podcast or his YouTube channel, and you just see where he came from and how he came about and where he is today. I guarantee you'll be hooked, glued. But to say that the judge was fair is absolutely asinine. The judge from the very get-go was siding with the prosecution. Now, typically, me being a 4-time loser, and that's nothing to brag on whatsoever. Been charged with 3 state RICOs, organized crime, criminal syndicate. It's not on a federal level, but it was on a state level. So I understand the intricacies a lot more than the average individual when it comes to these crimes in cahoots. Because that's what they're referred to, crimes in cahoots. The judge is always going to be somewhat on the prosecution side. That's just a given. That's just what it is. We can't sit up here and think that the judge is going to be 50-50 right down the line. No, it doesn't work like that. The judges, the prosecutor, the police, all their paychecks pretty much say the same, with the exception of the amount, if you get my drift. It all started from the very beginning, even though this wasn't the original judge. But again, they all work together. Diddy was set to turn himself in. They came and arrested him, tried to embarrass him, made a spectacle out of it. Flew to New York, knowing that he was about to turn himself in. That next morning, when he was set to turn himself in, it never arrived. It arrived, but by the time it arrived, he was already incarcerated. Why? Because they went to his hotel room where he was staying at and made an arrest for no reason. Went for a bond hearing. Offered a very, very generous bond, lucrative bond. Passports turned in. He agrees to have, officers outside of his residence. Limited amount of people that's, was able to come and go. No internet, all type of stipulations. They said he was a menace to society. He was a danger to society. Bond denied. He appeals his bond. Has another bond hearing. Now they offer, I think the first time they offered $50 million. The next time they offered $100 million. More stipulations. Drug testing. All type of just, it would have been very, very difficult to adhere to all of those stipulations. Bond denied once again. This man sitting in jail, and he's still in jail. Been nearly 10 months since he's been incarcerated. So this whole you're innocent until proven guilty, it's just a saying. They need to really get rid of that saying, to be honest, because that's just not the truth. If you're innocent before proven guilty, or until proven guilty rather, why are you sitting in jail? You have the means to make a bond, you should be able to make a bond. Diddy wasn't afforded that opportunity. The judge could have given Diddy a bond, granted Diddy a bond, but never once did he. Why? Because every single time, the prosecution strongly objected. Diddy had and he has a dream team, his defense team, and they're the new Johnny Cochran's, pretty much. They would give their take on the matter. Judge always went with the prosecution, their ruling. There were 2 times, I believe, maybe even 3, but I know that there were 2 to 3 instances, I'd say, in the trial. Diddy's defense team asked for a mistrial. Different things that didn't sit well. Prosecutorial misconduct, meaning that they did things that they knew that they weren't supposed to be doing. But guess what? We Johnny Law. We the feds. We the government. We can do whatever we want to do. Obviously, the judge denied those. Now, that's not that big of a surprise for the simple fact that a case of this magnitude, capacity, all the resources, the money that's been spent, they were never going to be granted a mistrial. So that was more so, in my opinion, that was more so for appeal purposes. Say Diddy had been convicted of the RICO. Those were appeal purposes. So the lawyers, knowing that they wouldn't get this mistrial that they were seeking, they had to do it. You know, you have witnesses that just got on the stands and perjured themselves, according to Sean G. Lied, told stories about Diddy. I believe it was Jane Doe. Said that Diddy hung her over in a balcony by her legs. By her legs. Now, this is a balcony. They said that the balcony was maybe 3 to 4 feet high. So that means Diddy would have literally had to, they said Diddy's about 6 foot. I've never seen him personally. So that means to hold somebody over a balcony, he would have to have her way up here by himself, dangling her over the balcony. Y'all check this out. Beautiful view. There's no possible way that could have happened. And not only, according to Sean G, did that not happen, it was impossible for some fact Diddy was in New York on his Bad Boy reunion tour on this particular day that this Jane Doe and Cassie came up. They proved that they came up with this story, conjured up a story. Cassie sues him for $20 million. She sued him for, I don't remember the exact number, but I know she sued for some millions, 10 million, 6 million, somewhere right around in there. And they were both trying to get paid. Proved that he was not even in LA, where this alleged, it's not even alleged, where this lie was blatantly told, made up. She got caught in so many lies. Several other witnesses got caught in so many lies on the stands. Just outright perjured themselves. But guess what? They all had immunity, meaning that they couldn't be prosecuted. So they can get on the stands and pretty much say whatever they want to say. Based upon that, I know that was one of the reasons why the judge, or why the defense rather, was asking for a mistrial. Judge never granted it. Anytime the defense asked for anything, they always gave the prosecution a chance to refute or to respond, which is understandable. Both sides get an opportunity to respond. They always went with the prosecutor. Sean G went on to talk about juror number 6, in which the prosecution knew at that point that they were fighting an uphill battle. They were losing the case. They were seeking to have him dismissed. Why? You know, a jury is supposed to be a jury of your peers. They don't want it to be a jury of your peers. They realized that this juror was inner city kid, you know, coming up. He knew who P. Diddy was, is, however you want to put it. Was very familiar with P. Diddy. And I guess they figured that he could somewhat relate to a lot of P. Diddy's ways and lifestyle. Not saying that it's condonable to put your hands on a woman, because it's not. But it's just that he has a He had a more understanding, if you will, not necessarily attitude, but he just understood more. You know, he understood Diddy more than the 51-year-old scientist. No slights to anybody. A lot of these people don't even know who Diddy is. They're not familiar with his music. They don't follow him. But juror number 6 evidently did. Got rid of him. Sean G went on to talk about how, and I don't know the exact name off the top of my head, but evidently the prosecution gets 9 opportunities to strike people from the jury. And out of the 9 opportunities that they had to strike people from the jury, which basically means individuals that they don't want on the jury, individuals that they think would potentially be on Diddy's side or understand Diddy more, 7 of them were used on black people, getting 7 black jurors off the jury. They never intended on Diddy to have a fair trial. The judge allowed that. Sean G talked about how juror number 6, there was a discrepancy with his address. Evidently, he was living in New York, but he was staying at his girlfriend's house in Jersey multiple times a week. And from that, the prosecution requested to have him removed from the jury. According to Sean G, the judge was not hearing that initially. Oh, no. No, it's not really a big of a deal. I talked to the individual. Everything's cool. We're not going to do it. But then it went from that to give me a little bit of time to think about it. Comes back later on that afternoon. Juror number 6 is dismissed all of a sudden. Earlier in the day, in the morning, it was, I see no reason to do this. It was just a simple, no foul, no harm. Now it's totally dismissed. Interesting. Very, very interesting right there. Of course, the defense objected to it. Didn't even matter. In the favor of the prosecution. Throughout the trial, perhaps the judge was being somewhat fair during the actual, during the trial, but there were definitely moments to where he always sided with the prosecution. Even at the end of the trial, it's like the judge played with Diddy's emotions. Asking him, pretty much telling him, I'm sure that you don't want to return back to, the name of the jail that Diddy's in. Diddy shook his head. No, sir, I don't. Who would want to return back to a jail, especially a county jail, but any jail? Prosecution strongly objected. This is a very violent man. This is a violent offense, the Mann Act. When did prostitution become violent? The man shouldn't even be convicted of anything. We're going to seek the max in this case. We feel as though if he gets out, he's a danger to society, a danger to the community. So the judge tries to play it off. Well, you give us a letter. The defense, you all give us a letter. And later on this afternoon, we'll decide. 1 o'clock comes, they push it off to like 1:30. 1:30 comes, they push it off till 2:30. 2:30 comes, they push it off till 3. 3 comes, they push it off till 4. And so on and so on. Finally, the judge is ready. Everybody's ready. It wasn't the judge that wasn't ready. It wasn't the defense that wasn't ready. It was the prosecution. You see, the judge said, show me a situation in which an individual was convicted of a crime such as this, in which he wasn't granted bail. Prosecution couldn't come up with it. But what they did was, allegedly, my synopsis, my opinion on it, contacted Cassie's lawyer, another one of the so-called victims' lawyers. There's no victims in this case. Cassie got $30 million, but we keep wanting to call her a victim. Was able to be able to do what she wanted to do with multiple escorts, in which she was choosing on her own, but she's the victim. Right. Got a few letters, 2-3 letters, stating that if Diddy were to be released, they would fear for their lives, their safety. All of a sudden, he's going to do something to them because they testified against him. Obviously, the defense team, they refuted that. Your Honor, our client just had the fight of his life. There's no possible way that he's going to get out and do anything of the sorts. Put him on an ankle brace, put him on strict stipulations, whatever the case may be, but this man needs to go home to his family. He has kids that he's the sole parent of. Once again, who does the prosecution side with? Actually, who does the judge side with, rather? Prosecution. So every major decision in this case, that could have blatantly gone in Diddy's favor, blatantly helped Diddy, blatantly released Diddy to at least be out on bond at the very least, went in favor of the prosecution. So how in the world could this judge even remotely be fair? You see, I understand Sean G, and I understand his angle, and I understand where he's coming from. But I didn't understand that. Sean G's done an excellent job. Podcast with Soul. Y'all go check him out. He's done an excellent job covering this case. But there's a motive in everything that most people do. He's gotten the attention of Diddy's attorneys. He's gotten the attention of Diddy's friends. I'm sure that Diddy is aware of who he is. I'm not sure if Diddy's seen the videos. His whole objective is to get that initial interview from Diddy when Diddy gets out. And I'm not mad at it. He wants a roster spot. Look, man, I rode for you. See what I'm saying, man? I was out there every day. Rain, sleet, snow. Not literally snow. But had it been snowing, he would have been out there. I'm not mad at the brother whatsoever. I would have done the exact same thing. So I'm definitely not mad at it. That's why I'm so confused as to why he would say that this judge was so fair. There's no way that he was fair. And so when you have individuals coming out saying that, when Diddy goes back to court, whether it's October the 3rd or his final sentencing is expedited, moved up, because from what I understand, that's the motion that the lawyers are filing right now, to have his sentence moved up. Sentencing, rather. I don't expect Diddy to walk out of there that day. I hope he does. But this judge has proven over and over and over again that he's not fair. This judge has only been a judge, according to Sean G, for like 2 years. So it's as though the prosecution is just bullying him, opposed to a more seasoned judge. Not to say that he couldn't handle this situation. I'm just simply saying he let a lot of things, somewhat be swept under the rug. In the prosecution's favor, if you will. See, in the federal system, you have a sentencing guideline. And the judge has to go by the guideline. Now, they can step outside of the guideline and sentence you to more time. But at the same time, they can step outside of the guideline and sentence you to less time. And they really don't have to give anybody any explanation. So, theoretically, is Diddy facing 20 years? He is. 2 counts. Each count carries up to 10 years, 20 years. But again, there's a sentencing guideline and it just doesn't work like that. If one of those counts isn't dismissed, he's probably, see, what happens is they'll say, okay, he has no priors, no criminal record, so he's in a certain box. I've never been to the feds, let me knock on wood. So he's in a certain, time frame that they can give him. I believe Sean G said 14 to 21 months. It's somewhere like that. There's levels. First time offender, he should get no more than 14 to 21 months. The feds, you do 85% of your time. Let's just say he does have to wait until October to get sentenced. That's 13 months at that point in which he would have been incarcerated. The judge has the ability to say time served, and did he just walk out of the courtroom that day? The judge could give him 20 months. Meaning that, okay, Diddy's already done 13. That means 7 more months, but I only have to do 85% of that. Another 4 or 5 months, he'd be home. Diddy's not going to a federal penitentiary as far as, he'll go to like a little low-level camp. He's not going to a maximum security or, anything like that. But I'm sure that he's ready to be home. The judge could have granted that, and he didn't. So my point is, Mr. Sean G, what makes you think that the judge is going to go against the prosecution? She's already said that she's seeking the maximum sentence. She would love to get 10 years out of it, but she knows that 9 times out of 10, she can't get 10 years. She wants that 50 to 60 months. Yeah, that's what she wants out of it, 50 to 60 months. So we'll see. We'll see how fair this judge really is. Because if he's truly fair, he'll say, this guy beat those charges. We don't care. I don't care what the prosecution is saying, how violent of a man he supposedly is or whatever. He beat those charges. He's been away from his family, his kids, publicly humiliated for 13 months. Lost all type of sponsorship deals. Spent all type of money on his defense team, man. The man suffered enough. Future earnings will never be the same. Let him go home, man. That's what an unbiased, fair judge would do. Or somewhere right around in that range. Okay, you want to give him 24 months, 21 months. Okay, give him a little bit more time. Send him to a drug rehab or whatever. See, the feds is different now. Trump, he signed for the Mann Act. And the Mann Act, not the Mann Act, the First Step Act. I said the Mann Act. First Step Act. It enables non-violent federal inmates to get good time while they're incarcerated. So for every class that they take, they get so much time off of their sentence. Now Diddy won't have enough time to where that would even remotely affect him. But it used to be once you went to the feds, 85% is what you was going to do. So let's just say Diddy were to get a 10-year sentence. Let's just say he were to get a 10-year sentence. Or even a 5-year sentence. Once he got to whatever prison that he was, going to be sent to, he signs up for these classes. And once he starts to take these classes, every class that he does, it knocks time off his sentence. I have a buddy that's incarcerated right now, and he had a 7.5-year sentence, and he ended up doing about 3 of it. 3.5, I believe. And he's currently home now. He just started taking classes. He said that the classes that he took would knock 12 to 15 days off of his sentence every single month. So essentially it was cutting his time in half. Again, I don't think that would too much affect Diddy because he's not going to get enough time to where that's really going to, he's not going to get that much time. But in the event he does, he'll be able to take those classes. It's non-violent. I think it's a shame how they just railroad people. That's why Geragos' lawyer said, be careful, because you may be next. Anytime they want to find, anytime that they want to charge you with something, they can just come up with something. They can come up with something. I'm quite sure that Diddy knew that morally it probably wasn't right to be flying people in, but he's a single guy. He wasn't married, not married. You think he really knew that he was committing a federal offense? Make up laws as they go. They can interpret the laws any way that they want to shape and form and interpret the laws. That's why you seen R. Kelly get convicted of the same exact thing, a one-man RICO. R. Kelly didn't have Diddy's defense team. R. Kelly didn't have the money that Diddy had to put those type of lawyers together. So as a result, it's not the exact same thing, but for the exact same charges, R. Kelly's doing 30 years in federal penitentiary. It's sad, man. It's sad how they can just do whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do it, to whoever they want to do it to. So that's my take on the P. Diddy situation. I think his time was good for him. He needed to sit down, get clean, get his mind right. He needs to definitely go to anger management, as we've seen. Take some drug classes and just understand that, you know, you're not bigger than the program. You must change your ways, because you don't want to find yourself back in that federal system, any system. And it wouldn't surprise me, because this prosecution, they're pissed. Oh, the Southern District, they don't lose. That's what everybody's saying. So I wouldn't be surprised if they try to conjure up some more charges against P. Diddy at some point on down the line. Dirty game, man. When you really, really look at it, we see who the real criminals are and who I guess, being corrupt, who and where that truly, truly comes from. Again, this is no disrespect to Sean G. I rock with him every day. I watch his videos. Very, very insightful. But I just didn't understand this whole the judge is fair thing. Real Kings TV. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment. Definitely share. Subscribe to the channel. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit that post notification so anytime I bring you this action and this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive. Real Kings.